Here we go then, we've been around the world from Melbourne in March to Abu Dhabi here in November, and we have reached the final round of the 2018 Formula One season. We're set fair for a dramatic night under the lights here in Abu Dhabi. Green light then waved at the back of the grid one more time in 2018. It's lights out and away we go, and it's a good start from Hamilton and from Bottas, and Sebastian Vettel trying to catch the Mercedes. Behind them comes the Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo, just behind Kimi Räikkönen and Max Verstappen. I don't think the best start out there. Going wide is Romain Grosjean through turn one. He's lost places to the Force India of Ocon and Nico Hülkenberg, and there's Max Verstappen right behind the Force India. What happened to him off the line, Martin Brundle?
Indeed, and I think Fernando Alonso had an appalling first corner for good measure. Got ran out wide and has fallen back down through the field. Just watching his start, four abreast on the way in to the turn 7 hairpin, and then they've got the very long first straight.
Verstappen is down in 10th place as Lewis Hamilton leads the pack down the back straight. There's the Toro Rosso of Brendan Hartley behind the McLaren. There is Charles Leclerc going wheel to wheel with Daniel Ricciardo into the chicane. Ricciardo breaks latest and makes the corner, but Leclerc really fancied with some top speed down there, a move, and that is the Renault of Hülkenberg going over and over and over and out of this race, and that is Nico Hülkenberg against the barrier, taking a tumble and being punted off the track, and that is a worrying accident to see at the start of this race.
Are you okay, Nico?
I'm hanging here like a cow.
Yeah.
Get me out of this fire.
Yep.
There's fire.
It's alright, they're coming. They're coming.
And we can see what happened here. Now, initially, there's Daniel Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc. Ricciardo having to brake late to ward off the advancements of the Sauber. Hülkenberg and Grosjean there tangling, and it was on the exit of the chicane. Grosjean tried to fight back. He just clipped the underside of that Renault, sending it into the barrel roll.
Don't think Grosjean did anything wrong. He was always there or thereabouts. Yeah, Romain Grosjean did nothing wrong there. You're going to have to get up very early in the morning if you're going to outbrake Daniel Ricciardo into a corner, as Charles Leclerc found out. So I would imagine that Grosjean was in the blind spot of Nico Hülkenberg there. Oh, that's going to understeer straight into the wall.
He's already been into the pits, Martin, to change a front wing, and they'll be looking to see if there's any damage at the rear of the car now.
Might just get away with that.
Hamilton has got a very good jump on the rest of the field. Look at his advantage already. Charles Leclerc ahead then of Daniel Ricciardo. Then comes Grosjean and Ocon and Max Verstappen and Perez. And Carlos Sainz ahead of Marcus Ericsson. And Ricciardo is going to have to go battling once again with Charles Leclerc. But that Sauber has pace, certainly in the opening part of the lap.
It was Vettel who was caught napping a little bit on the restart. Kimi Räikkönen locks up into turn 5 there. So Leclerc, as you say, ahead of the Red Bull now, and that is Verstappen right up the inside there, and that was very bold indeed.
On Esteban Ocon, no contacts. Ocon's going to fight back though, and he's entitled to do so, of course. This is for position on the opening lap, or the opening lap of proper racing, really. Ocon ahead of Perez, ahead of Verstappen. The two Force Indias have both got the Red Bull.
It looks to me as if...
Great engine hot!
And Verstappen losing power with his engine overheating.
Yeah, it didn't look like he got enough power to pull the skin off a rice pudding down the straight there. Both Force Indias straight back past him.
But he's getting a good slipstream, isn't he? And guess what? Under braking, he might fancy a go here, and he does. Late braking for Max Verstappen. He's cleared one Force India. He's got Esteban Ocon to come. And after 2 weeks ago, the incidents in Brazil, we all hold our breath to see what happens with Ocon and Verstappen here under the lights in Abu Dhabi this evening. Into the first chicane we go. Ocon ahead of Verstappen, 8th and 9th at the moment. Is Verstappen going to go down the inside again? You know what he is, and it had to be, didn't it? Max Verstappen getting past Esteban Ocon, but was there contact there? Ocon certainly getting out of the way before there was too much contact for the Force India and the Red Bull to take, but he's fighting back again because they've got the top speed down the straight. Ocon is back ahead of Verstappen, pulls across him. Verstappen's going to have to go the long way around the outside, and Ocon has him covered off for now.
I think that repass there might have saved Max from a little word from the stewards. Now he's the one who'll get DRS and a great run down into turn 11.
But the inside line goes to Esteban Ocon, who cuts back in front of Verstappen again. Now Verstappen's got the inside line. Into the chicane he goes. And that 8th place once again belongs to the Dutchman. And the Frenchman is following him and will have to try again to get past.
That was personal, wasn't it, between those two, of course, after Brazil as well. And all the history between them back in Formula 3. Pity we're losing Ocon for a few races off the grid.
And that is the Ferrari. It is Raikkonen down there, pulling over and parking, and his final race for Ferrari ends on the pit straight.
It's right outside our window. That's not an easy car to get out of the way either. They'll have to put some kind of either virtual or actual safety car out. They've got to open the fence and wheel that car through. The same opening we all go to the grid with. Virtual safety car is deployed.
So he was changing modes all the time through that last lap, failing sensors, left, right, centre on that Ferrari, but yeah, it's no result and has to pull over.
What's happening? I don't have power.
Fail Delta 34 on. Fail Delta 34 on.
The marshals going to have to judge this very, very carefully. If they pull the Ferrari into the pit lane, whoever's rocketing in to make a pit stop, okay, right, that's clear. The Mercedes is clear, and it is race leader Lewis Hamilton. So this is pretty early, considering that the tyres he's got could have gone for another 10, 15 laps, especially with a safety car, but that is a pit stop to the end of the race.
So a one-stop strategy as far as Mercedes are concerned with Lewis Hamilton.
So Hamilton just 9 seconds off the lead, having done the pit stop. There we go, and he's already passed Verstappen.
He certainly has. And that looked a little bit easier for Lewis Hamilton on Max Verstappen than it proved to be for Esteban Ocon. But guess what? Verstappen picks up the DRS and the slipstream, pulls out from behind the Mercedes, and he's going for it again. Doesn't leave much room as he closes the gap on Lewis Hamilton, shuts the door on Lewis Hamilton, and he is back up into 4th place.
He seems to have so much more power in the second straight. I know he's got DRS than the first straight does Max Verstappen.
Here's Carlos Sainz again on Marcus Ericsson. Very close going through the chicane. Ericsson under all sorts of pressure from the Spaniard behind him, who almost runs into the back of the Sauber. Such is his exit from that chicane. Now pulls out from behind the rear wing of Ericsson's car. He's going wheel to wheel. The braking zone comes now. Marcus Ericsson stays ahead of Carlos Sainz, but he is really struggling to hold on to 8th place at the moment.
I'm assuming we're going to hear Max on the phone soon saying he's holding me up.
And I'm assuming then we get the reply from Daniel Ricciardo saying, I don't care, to be honest. I'll hold him up as much as I want. There's Carlos Sainz and Marcus Ericsson again. This time Sainz gets the job done. It's taken him 3 laps to do it. He locks up into the bargain as well. Sainz moves into 8th place. Ericsson starting to struggle on his starting tyres. He's running the super softs at the moment. Less pace on those. Carlos Sainz, the ultra soft tyre. Max Verstappen has got past Sebastian Vettel because of this. Sebastian Vettel making his pit stop, and a slow pit stop. Let's have a look at this pit stop then.
Right rear a bit slow off, wasn't it?
Yeah, boss watches on, not overly amused.
Nice stop, nice stop. Not the quickest we've ever seen, but nice and steady for Valtteri Bottas. A little bit of a kick at the rear as he comes out. He should clear Sebastian Vettel pretty easily. Hamilton can go to the end of the race on those red tyres, even though he put them on quite early on. No trouble at all.
So Daniel Ricciardo then, in his final race for Red Bull, his 100th and final race for Red Bull, leads the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which I think is the 100th time he's actually led a race in his career as well. He's ahead of his teammate Max Verstappen. Hamilton's in 3rd. Carlos Sainz is in 8th. Still in 8th. He's trying to get past Esteban Ocon in the Force India.
He'll have such a better run off this turn, off turn 9. And DRS as well. He ought to have a chance. He's got to go the long way round though. Run a few more metres down there. And of course the Mercedes engine in the back at the Force India.
He's got the inside line as Ocon though, and the Renault pace wasn't enough to get him past as Pierre Gasly wants to make a move on the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson, and that move sadly for him wasn't on, and the move for for Carlos Sainz and Esteban Ocon sadly for him wasn't on. Verstappen pits, and is this the undercut then for Red Bull that's going to allow Verstappen to get past his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, who carries on leading this race from Lewis Hamilton. We've got a test here in a couple of days' time, and they're predicting a bit of rain for that as well, and maybe a sandstorm or two as Sirotkin goes very, very wide coming out of the final corner. Sirotkin hasn't stopped yet. I think he's struggling on those tyres a bit. Brendan Hartley tries to go around the long way, around the outside of turn one, eventually gets that overtake done. There's a problem there for Marcus Ericsson, who has been reporting on the radio, have we got a bit of damage here? The car doesn't feel right and is slowing down to a crawl here. Man who started 6th in Brazil last time out and retired from that race because of damage to his car.
Pushing is no power at all. Okay. Sorry, stop it.
Final race for Sauber, like Kimi Raikkonen's final race for Ferrari, ending in mechanical failure and retirement. Grosjean this time has a much better opportunity of getting past Stoffel Van Dorn. Van Dorn made it difficult for him. Now Esteban Ocon's arriving on the scene as well, and he fights back Van Dorn, but in doing so allows Ocon the opportunity to get alongside him out of that chicane. And Grosjean ahead of Van Dorn, ahead of Ocon, but all three could be going in side by side to the next braking zone, and Grosjean's lost out. Van Dorn's ahead, Ocon's ahead of the Haas, and that's a lovely move there by Stoffel Van Dorn. Romain Grosjean was the first victor, but the battle was won by the McLaren, and the Force India picked up a place as well.
So Van Dorn very late on the brakes. That forced Grosjean to release the pedal pressure of his brakes, put them all a little bit out of sync as Esteban Ocon joined the party as well. And you're absolutely right, Van Dorn making a nice job of that.
Mega job, mega.
So as Grosjean had to get off the brake pedal, he went in too deep. That makes it a very acute angle then into turn 9 and made Grosjean slow out of that chicane. And this is the net result down in the next braking zone.
That is Romain Grosjean.
That's a lot of curb, isn't it?
Yeah. We're on board with Esteban Ocon. The McLaren's in front, not for long, but he's back again. Is Van Dorn, and just getting his lines absolutely right, and forcing the Force India to go the long way round. But now can Ocon do a little cheeky dive down the inside at turn 14. He's going to try it. Should get better traction on Van Dorn coming out of that left-hander. Now goes round the long way round the outside at 160 miles an hour, but goes too deep into turn 17. Rejoins the track ahead of Van Dorn. Does he need to give that place back? As into the pit lane come the Red Bull crew for Daniel Ricciardo.
Super softs.
Super soft tyres to go on to the end of the race, not the hyper soft tyres that was an option for them. And once again, a very, very neat pit stop. Round of applause for their final pit stop, scheduled pit stop of the season. 2.2 seconds for Daniel Ricciardo. Here comes Sebastian Vettel on Valtteri Bottas. Now, has Bottas made an error on this particular lap, and is that given Vettel a chance to nick second place here?
Absolutely, because Bottas will be slow out of that chicane. It'll be Vettel who gets DRS. Bottas has to stay on the inside. There's nothing he can do about it. Bye-bye, second place.
Well, Valtteri Bottas was looking good in second place, and Sebastian Vettel has just swooped past him to say thank you very much, I'll have it myself. And what Verstappen is now gaining on Bottas. Daniel Ricciardo has just set the fastest lap of the race. Significant this, a 1:41.2, and that is round about 2.8 seconds faster than his teammate managed. It's way faster than Vettel managed and Hamilton managed as well on that previous lap.
Yeah, that's the previous fastest lap was a 43.0. He's done a 41.2 and he's 14 seconds off the lead is Daniel Ricciardo, and there's no traffic coming into play for a while.
Now what is happening here with Valtteri Bottas? That's another lock-up there for him, this time on the back straight and into turns 8 and 9, and Verstappen's closing in, and he might, I don't think he's got DRS, he hasn't.
He's trying to let him through. I think Bottas is trying to let him past, knowing that he's gone way off the track. It seems like they're slowing the pair of them down.
So, 13 seconds separating the top 5 at the moment, And the man who is in 5th is significantly quicker than others out on the track, on fresher tyres as well, while his teammate has a little look on the Mercedes ahead of him.
And he's out of line again. Bottas out of line through turn 9. So with DRS, I think Verstappen, if he's got any battery power left as well, is going to have a great chance down in the braking zone. Bottas got to stay completely left, make sure there's no space down there. That's what he's done, but once again, he's miles out of line now.
Oh, that's clever by Verstappen. He went very wide to the right-hand side, switched back, and he's put Valtteri Bottas off the track as well in squeezing his way past. They love that down at Red Bull. That was a really clever move by Verstappen to switch back from the wide outside through that left-hander, and Bottas stood no chance.
Fair contact there from Verstappen. He knew he had to get that done, otherwise he's going to have to be a bridesmaid to his teammate shortly.
So here comes Daniel Ricciardo on Bottas. He'll get a bit of DRS along that back straight, and already as the speed ramps up, he's going significantly faster. We can ride on board with Ricciardo. This is the fight for 4th place at the moment. Is there space down the inside? Last of the late breakers, Daniel Ricciardo hits past the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas, puts himself up into 4th place, gets a lovely exit out of the chicane, all the grip that he would want there, but can he now fend off the Mercedes who's coming back at him? Verstappen into the chicane, Ricciardo into the chicane, Bottas into the chicane, Ricciardo just ahead of Valtteri Bottas. He's got the move done, and he can now accelerate away from the Mercedes through that final sector, and the Red Bulls are really going for it here.
That was the first part of the overtake.
Yeah, Bottas knew that Ricciardo was coming down the inside. Esteban Ocon, who will be reserve driver for Mercedes for next season, finishes off his final race for Force India with a retirement.
I lost all power.
Would the team not tell him that what the problem is and that really you should be retiring? Is he going to have a go at Max Verstappen here? Approaching with a rate of knots, Pierre Gasly, to his teammate for next season. I'm thinking, is this the second race in a row we're going to get?
We need to box. We need to box, Pierre.
Going to get a lapped car trying to unlap themselves behind Max Verstappen. In the end, Gasly comes to a halt and goes out of the race. But I dare say, Martin, that could have happened a while before.
Stop now. Stop on track in a safe position. Stop on track in a safe position now.
Car number 44 has really been the number one once again. He comes home to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and to crown a championship winning season with victory in the final race. Sebastian Vettel follows his home as runner-up here and runner-up in the championship as well. Max Verstappen finishes on the podium for Red Bull. Daniel Ricciardo a couple of seconds adrift in his final race for the team before he moves to Renault. Valtteri Bottas a distant 5th after leading the race and looking very good for a podium at one stage.
It's been a real honor and a privilege racing against Sebastian. You know, I've known him since Formula 3 days, and he's always been an honest, hard-working racing driver, and he's always raced his heart out. So did a fantastic job this whole season. There's so much pressure on us all, so don't ever look at our shortcomings as anything less but us giving our best, and Sebastian did. I know next year he's going to come back strong, so I've got to make sure I try and come back with it, but I'm really grateful for the good times.